Yeah, this fall we had some new guys in some new spots. So we had some new guys to the roster that were going to be playing some important roles. So our expectations for the fall maybe were a little different this year than last year. We were trying to get a bunch of guys to play together. We were trying to take advantage of some individual talents and put those together. So a little different than last year when we had a veteran group like we did. But for us, it's always been, we understand the fact we're going to graduate our best players, and it's kind of next man up mentality. At attack right now, Justin Kesselring in the fall kind of played that quarterback role for us. At the midfield, Brian Rogers, I think he's probably a contender for midfielder of the year this year. A kid that can go either way, a kid that actually this year, we're going to make a commitment to showing everybody he can play both ends of the field. And I still believe that the heart and soul of our team is our defense. When you've got a close defender like Brendan Entenman, who is a defender that stays on your gloves from the time you walk on the field until the time you get on the bus to leave. And we've got a sophomore, Zach Pratson, that athletically can run with anybody in the country. So we're excited with his development. In the goal, we've got a couple of guys, new guys. It's going to be different when you graduate. The two-time Division II Goalie of the Year, and Alex Krawick. We do expect maybe some growing pains, but a couple of guys in Jack Sweeney and Kyle Lumpy have done a really good job of taking over the leadership role down there on the defensive end. Yeah, I think there's a huge misconception of who we are. The fact that I personally believe that defense wins championships, and we're not a high-risk type team. We don't develop high-risk defense. So with that in mind, we do tend to play an awful lot of defense, which on the other end of the field, there's times where we need to give those guys a rest. So, I'm one of those guys that would love to see a shot clock so that we don't find ourselves playing 3-4 minutes of defense at a time. But on the offensive end, I think we're pretty simple. We really don't try to reinvent the wheel. We're not a team that runs plays, we play. And we try to teach our guys to make good decisions and to make the best decision. And what is the best decision changes from quarter to quarter, from game situation to game situation. So I think we empower our guys to make plays, but I think we also do a really good job of putting them in positions to make plays. Yeah, I'm the first one to admit, when you looked at our roster and you looked at Limestone's roster, that talent for talent, I think they absolutely had us. But we had a group of guys, and I don't really chalk it up to motivation from last year, because I do believe each team is different. When you're in a sport that's graduating, 12 to 15 guys every year, that's a big chunk of your team, and typically the identity of your team changes. So I don't believe that it was that. I believe that it was a group of guys that understood, the whole was stronger than the parts, and we did a tremendous job at the face-off X, which gave us some more possessions. And I think guys like Kyle DeAngelis, when you can put a short stick defensive midfielder on, the player of the year in Division II in Mike Messenger, that allowed us to do some different things. I think we're in an excellent position. I think the level of coaching in Division II continues to get better. I think we're in that unique position where it's, it may not be top 25 Division I lacrosse, but from a talent perspective, I know for a fact my roster is filled with Division I players. There's so much talent out there. I think an appropriate step for us would be to kind of connect the North and the South with that Mid-Atlantic region. You know, this area that we're in right now, Baltimore, with maybe a Division II absence. That would be a great next step for us, is to get some schools in this area that could kind of bridge that North-South relationship that we have today.